colleagues and listeners, here we are. We've got a lovely podcast show today. And the reason I'm saying it's lovely, it's always nice to see a father and daughter. And then when you've got a father and a daughter who are working together as two generations in aviation, I think is exceptional. Also, lovely to see the interaction. So the father and daughter team I've got in front of me are Uwe Beck and Kristin Beck from Beacon Projects. And Kristin is the Executive Management Advisor. I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of fun with that, Kristin. And then Uwe is the MD and CEO of Beacon Projects Group. So, guys, absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Likewise, my friend. Long time no see.
It is. And this is long overdue, Uwe. Long time.
I know.
Long time. Kristin, lovely to see you.
Yeah, so great to see you again. I think the last time's been a couple of months ago where we did the podcast together. So I'm looking forward to the chit chat with you.
Yeah, but it's always a pleasure. And since our interaction at the conferences and podcasts and stuff, you do a great job and you're a great voice. And I love the way that you're always willing to speak up at the conferences. It's fantastic, seriously.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and my daughter always says, Dad, whenever you've got somebody on who looks good, you should always tell them. So, Uwe, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I'm only joking, Kristin. I'm only joking. You look great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right, guys, first question. Now, father and daughter working together, all right? I'm just thinking to myself, and I said to my daughter, Gabby, I said, do you think you and me could work together? And we're so similar, I don't think it would work. She'd probably kill me. But guys, how easy was it for you two to actually work together?
Well, that's a valid question. Sometimes we do want to kill one another. I have to be frank with you. But I believe after all, it's actually a very good combination of two views. So the kind of the senior view of major years of experience in this fantastic industry, combined with more of my perspective, having come from the software industry. So that's just a nice combination, actually. It turned out quite well, right? We did well.
I think at the end we are doing quite well. No, I think, yeah. You know, we have our conversations, and I mean, as usual, between a younger generation and, let's say, an old guy like me, you have, of course, your conflicts which you need to discuss. And it's not only about, let's say, the project itself, but also to run the company in future. Because the aim is, of course, that the youngsters are taking over at one point in time. And this is, I think, the biggest challenge. And as I said, I mean, I know her now for more than 31 years. And I think that the challenge is to differentiate between the private part in our relationship and the business part. And I think after certain adjustments in the beginning, when she joined full-time about a year ago, I think we're managing it quite well, I must say. That is, I think, a key issue. We have to accept each other. Sometimes she has to deal with me as a dickhead, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, I think we are managing quite well. And our Christian is also, I count him to the younger generation. Is a good, let's say, help in between sometimes. So I think we are managing it quite well.
So you got a referee?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. I've very diplomatically put both of you. Now, I've got a question for you, Uwe.
Yeah.
When you first thought to yourself, my daughter would make a great addition to the team, okay, did you approach Kristin, or was it Kristin who thought to herself, I could make a big difference to Dad's business? And did she approach you? How did it come about?
I think I have to tell you a bit more of this story. I mean, and Kristin will add on this, of course. I mean, being a daughter to a dad, she always knew what I did. I mean, you know, you have your dinners together. You talk about my business, what I'm doing, where I have to travel to, etc. And when she did her high school and afterwards also her decision to study in Maastricht, business and economics, we always had a certain touch about discussing our industry. And But at the end, she decided after the studies to run her own way, which is good. And I always encouraged her to find her own path in the business life. And she decided to go into the IT field. And then, of course, she was joining me on certain special events during her holidays, like we have been at the Clearview sessions of Carle a couple of times together, where she participated also on these discussions. So she always had a touch to the industry, to some account. And then the famous last year came, and I got this call from her, and she said, Daddy, I was thinking it over. I want to join the company. And for the moment, I was absolutely speechless because I have not encouraged her. I was, of course, in the background, maybe wishing it, but different story. And then I said, okay, let's sit together and discuss how this works out. Because for me, important was that you really want to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know, because for us, for me, it was a game changer, how to succeed with the company, because having your daughter now on board is a different story as to hand it over to somebody else out of the family. So it was a bit the thing. We were sitting together, we had a couple of discussions, and she convinced me that she's very much serious. And then, we took on the boat together.
Nice one. And Kristin, your side of the story.
Well, my side of the story is that when I was a little girl, I used to witness my dad have all those important conversations, and he spoke so passionately. And I always remember the feeling I had witnessing him do all of these important meetings, meeting people around the globe. I remember partners of ours still today coming over to our house to visit, speaking English, coming from different cultures. So I must say that did inspire me to join the industry in the end. And I think I always keep saying it's a people's business. So at the end of the day, it felt like a natural decision for me to come to the company. And maybe deep down inside, I always knew I would knock on the door and be like, now I'm ready. I did prove I could do it on my own in a different industry. And I built myself a career and just, harness different skills that I can now add to the business side of Beacon projects.
Very good. I think I just seen the old man wipe a tear from his eye there.
Oh.
I think you hit the heartstrings there. But I think what you said as well about finding your own path in a different industry and then realizing how that could complement and bring extra benefits into the family business is great. And Uwe, I think there's nothing better in life than to be able to.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a big word, but it changed a bit my life now for the rest of my career and the purpose and the aim of the company, right? So that is a complete different story. When prior to Kristin's joining the company, I mean, I was always thinking what I'm going to do now. I mean, number one, I cannot work forever. I can become sick, whatever. So how to continue with the business, because you have ongoing contracts which you need to fulfill with your clients, which is for me very serious. And now there is a clear goal line. And the goal line is to transfer the company to the younger generation. It's, as I said, it's not only Kristin, it's also Christian, and also two more which we are going to hire very quickly, and to transfer it. And it's not only myself, it's also the other old dinosaurs in the circle of BC, like Ralph Goetz and Robert Ryan, who also will fade out at one point in time. And this is the challenge now, to transfer everything as quick as possible into the head of the youngsters. And then they have to run their own style and their own way to develop the company and sustain the company.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And you just mentioned somebody there, Robert Ryan. I had the pleasure of working with him and socializing with him on a posting abroad. What a great lad, a great fella. Brilliant.
I love to have him on board here. He's a good friend and a great advisor and a huge asset in the company.
Yeah, nice, good lad, good lad. What I was going to say there, Chia, is like, Kristin, when you decided to come in, and when you decided that it was a good thing to come in, one of the things that I think is a shame in the industry at the moment, and especially the dynamics of the industry, is whether you call them dinosaurs or the oldies or whatever, but when people have spent so much time in an industry, the younger generations have got to realise that's going to be them one day. And if there's a more like, not formal, but a nice way of passing the baton on, where one party realizes they've got to pass the baton on because they've come to the end of their leg in the race, and the other one needs the baton to complete their leg in the race. If that's done with all the things that the older party is passionate about, and the younger party hasn't realized that they're going to experience it, if you can blend that, I think the industry would be so much better, because the way I see it at the moment is a lot of people are leaving the industry, and when you catch up with them, they're quite bitter, or they're disappointed that they weren't taken, with a little pinch of value and respect. And then they also feel that it's such a shame that all that experience, and when I say experience, I think the most important thing in this industry is, when something's gone wrong, how did you fix it, or how did you stop it from getting worse? That is invaluable. Anybody who says they did everything right, they're in the wrong picture. So you both seem to have got something in the balance very well, huh?
Well, first of all, let me agree with you. We're all human. We make mistakes. The important part about it is to have the lessons learned from it. So what we also establish at Beacon is fail fast, fail forward. Yeah. It's a good thing to fail. You only learn from failure. And I believe that's the most valuable resource from very experienced people. I keep saying, yes, it's important to attract new talent to the air cargo industry. Yes, it's absolutely crucial to make people aware out there why it's so great to work for this industry. But you also need to capture the seniors' knowledge and to bridge the gap. I mean, there must be a compromise between new ways of working, dashboards that, by the way, my dad never likes to work with. Yeah. And, agile ways of working, AI comes in, all those tech developments that kind of change the way we work, change the way we approach each other. But nonetheless, what's really valuable is people having been around for 30, 40 years, they know things we don't know.
Yep.
So I keep saying, be humble, be kind, ask others who have experienced things you haven't. Ask them, how can I step up? How can I become really good at my job? What would you say is the biggest challenge you have faced in your career? How did you learn from it? This is such a valuable exchange that we should all be using also as young talent.
Yeah, and I think, when if young talent invite people of a certain experience level, it's the reception you get, I think, is fantastic, because at the end of the day, one of the nicest things in life, which always has a once upon a time, and then it doesn't always, they lived happily ever after, but when it gets through the story, is how you overcome these things. And if people can help, it gives a great satisfaction to the person who's helping.
Absolutely. And capture it, right? I keep saying, write it down, reflect, ask the questions. Don't just speak about it. It's good to verbalize it, but there's knowledge management that's needed. So capture the knowledge, speak about it in a blog, write it in a blog post. That's what we do, for instance, but also have a proper knowledge management and change management initiative in your company to make sure that those who have the actual deep know-how, like, for instance, Robert Ryan in our company, who just knows operations in and out. He's been doing it. He's been with British Airways. That's why he's such an asset for our company. He can combine the IT side of things, high-level control stuff, with, what an operation actually needs.
Yeah.
And how would you know that if you haven't walked around on the shop floor, if you haven't worked with big projects and cargo terminals? You wouldn't. You can't do that as a youngster. So it's also important to kind of approach senior leaders with a sort of curiosity and kindness, and not to think that you know everything, because you don't. If you've just joined the industry for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's still plenty of things to learn from people like my dad, for instance.
No, 100%, Kristin. And it's a little bit like history. It's always good to respect the past, act on today, and then you influence the future. And if you've got the three stages, I think it's a great way to go. Now, Let me ask you, Uwe, when you introduced Kristin, or Kristin, went out and met the customers and started getting involved and doing various, gap analysis or, efficiency models and all sorts, how was it received when you got your feedback, Uwe?
I still remember the first trip we did together to Paris, together for a project at the airport for one of the bigger cargo handlers, WFS. And we were sitting in this room, and she was part of it. That was first a bit of a mixed feeling for me, because at the first, let's say, I was saying to myself, oh, now the show starts. It's not anymore talking about at the coffee at home. Yeah. Now we are sitting in front of a serious client addressing a very complicated project. And I must say, she was, number one, not shy. She immediately started also to brought her into the discussion, to bring her, and the company, and I was noting that the people on the table was reckoned to her, and I said, that's it, and this continued until today, and she stepped more and more into the project. I think she is well received by the industry and our clients in the meantime, and she has already her own network now beside mine. And I think that was a very good start and made me understood it's a right decision and the right way forward doing it.
Yeah, I agree. And unlike the BBC, we don't mind if you mention clients or customers. So I'm sure John Batten will be smiling with his cup of cocoa or whatever it is he has in the morning with the little shout out you gave him.
Hi, John.
I know him also a very long time, and we have also our funny moments together, I tell you.
I can imagine. Brothers from different mothers. But Kristin, I also, I'm surprised that your dad said that you were confident and that you were outgoing.
Yeah, I don't look like it, right?
Hey, no.
I'm actually rather of an introvert. I agree that we didn't plan for this to go as smoothly as it did. But that what I think that was, it's because I'm actually curious and I like to listen. And I believe that that's the key to success also with clients. If you're genuinely interested in understanding a problem, you're more interested in it than actually selling the solution, right? That's the key. So that's my biggest asset. It's being curious and staying open and actually wanting to hear what people have to say. And I always aim to first listen, reflect, and then jump in. I know a lot of people can still improve on that, for instance, because I feel like in society or also in business, sometimes what you tend to do is you just wait to step in, say the next sentence, right? Or maybe take the concept and then apply it onto you and your success to expose yourself. But I really care about the client side. I really care about helping them. And that's what makes me special in that case. And that's why that worked out in Paris so well. Not knowing a lot about the aircraft.
And not only in Paris, I still remember a few months later, maybe Chris, we are running now Denata Amsterdam, which is at the moment one of the most challenging projects in our whole industry. It's a 65,000 square meter, fully automated cargo facility, which I think gonna be the most automated in the world, I must say. And this involves a lot of IT and whatever, different stakeholders, IT systems. One point in time, we had a discussion with the client. The IT part needs to have a coordinator, somehow a better structure, because otherwise we will fail. Kristin was then, and then out of the blue, it was, okay, Kristin, can you do it? Become the IT coordinator. And she said immediately yes. And she was from the first second on accepted by all these big players like Hermes, like Nalian, like the Lödiger IT guys, whatever. And she's leading the pack and very successful in this project.
Brilliant. And I would endorse that, because my interaction, Kristin, with you is, yes, you do listen, and then when you speak, it's always very logical. It makes sense, and I think that's what gains a lot of credibility. And on the work side,
I'd rather listen to Chris. Keep going.
No. But seriously, honestly,
No, seriously, you are right, and I can't agree more. Of course, I mean, sometimes she is not right, same as I'm sometimes not right.
Yeah.
You know, and then we need to have discussions and to find the proper solution moving forward. But this is normal, and this is independent that she is my daughter. You know, this is with everybody. It's with Christian, even with my old friend Ralph, or even Robert. We have our moments and sometimes our disagreements, which we then have to develop in an agreement to move forward to provide the solution to the client.
Yeah, but I mean that's good in any relationship. But I think the most important thing you said there, Kristin, is listen to what the customer actually wants or what they think they want, rather than be focused so much on selling what you think is what people need, because it does come across. And sometimes you miss so much. And you're talking about IT interface. In all the IT projects and programs I've ever been involved in, you know, what you do is you create these super users and people who then love to learn the language and the practices very quickly, but they don't pass it on to the actual users.
Correct.
Then you get this big gap. And then when something isn't working the way the feet on ground users think, they then blame it on the system. And invariably, most systems aren't being utilized to their full capacity because it hasn't been introduced correctly.
I think Chris is absolutely right. I think one of the biggest challenges in our industry is the change management of any automation or modernization of cargo facilities. The change management on the user side, on the operator side, to cope with this. That is a huge challenge, because this also needs fresh people, new ideas, etc. Change your mindset, and this is a big thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? I remember you always telling me, even when I didn't join the company yet, to go to the shop floor and talk to the people.
Exactly.
You remember us co-authoring this book for Framo Logistics about Finnair Cargo, which is still a fantastic automated cargo terminal that we also helped build basically as a project manager. And I remember you telling me it's important to understand the people, their needs, their fears, go talk to them. Don't be shy, go to the shop floor, ask how their day went, what their challenges are, and that is a core competency of you.
Yeah.
So that should be kept
in
mind.
me.
I remember how proud you were, Uwe, on the stage back in Brussels at a conference when you and Finnair were up on the stage, you know, announcing what was going on. That's rolling back the years.
Absolutely right. Some years, and unfortunately, Finnair now is struggling a bit because of the whole political situation and the overflying rights Russia. So unfortunately, have not fulfilled their aims with the terminal in the utilization point of view. But this nobody could have foreseen, unfortunately.
You mean because we calculated with a different throughput when we planned it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why I keep saying it's important for the cargo industry to become a bit more predictable in terms of yield management, throughput, etc. But of course, for instance, AI doesn't make it easier. There is a lot of contributions to market volatility, and that can also lead to exactly that, changes that can be predicted. You base it on assumptions, and then you calculate it over the years, how that could actually add optimization, efficiency, etc. So at some points in time, things change, and then we got to adapt again and look at a new concept. That's what also makes us very special, combining the changes of the industry, MHS parts, so material handling system, IT operations into one concept and make it timely again.
And also having one eye on potential risks and one on worst case scenarios, because invariably the one thing we all know in this industry is what you think might happen will happen one day, and how you prepare for that is part of the success in itself.
Absolutely right, Chris. Yeah.
Guys, we're almost at a wrap up. So, Kristin, I'd like to ask you, what message would you give to your dad if he wasn't listening? And then, Uwe, what message would you give to Kristin if she wasn't listening? So, whichever one of you wants to go first, and then we'll wrap up.
And let's start from my end. I think the main message is continue as you are, and let's continue our journey together. I'm sure we will have the success we will have still our moments. This will never end until we are both living, or particularly I'm living. And but I think we are on a very good path, and thanks a lot for what you brought in already in the company, and I'm sure we will make it. Thank you.
Kristin?
Yeah, I think the most important part of the journey that is ahead of us is to dream big. So to develop the company further, to grow further, to aim for more, to be open to change, whilst also keeping the know-how inside the company. And to me, right now, the biggest challenge, but also opportunity, is to find the right people.
Yeah.
Just a heartfelt, comment from my side. When we recruit new people, which is the current challenge, to me, the most important point that I would recommend to my father is to look for the why, for the purpose of people, and to ask in the recruiting process, what are your core values? What's the last long-term project you worked on? To see if they have intrinsic motivation and intrinsic drive, rather than wanting status or a title or money, because I keep saying if people come for money, they go for money. So for us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we should aim for finding the right match. And that at its core means finding the why of the person, of the applicant, and making sure that that why, that purpose, matches the core values of BC.
Yeah.
Which are flexibility, professionalism, authenticity, and excellence.
No, I agree with you, and it's also getting a mix. So it's like a football team. You're no good if you've got all goalkeepers or all centre forwards. So yeah, no, well done, guys. We're at the end. It's been an absolute pleasure. Uwe, I'll let you get the tissues out and wipe your eyes again. Kristin, always a pleasure, and look forward to, I know we've got another few sessions before the conference, so look forward to catching up with you then. Guys, thank you both. Wishing you great success. Well done. And it's lovely to see two generations who think it's a blessing and not a curse, both to be in the same industry.
Thank you very much, Chris. Was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Well said. Bye, Chris. See you soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.